Hello again and welcome to another 140k Imperial Guard Tactics video, and today guys I want to say a huge thank you to Darren Wadland for sending in some awesome pictures of his Catachan old school Lehman Russ, and you'll see this in a moment coming up, his converted Imperial Guard wheeled Chimera. I love a good wheeled Chimera. I was actually thinking of putting together some sort of motorized force, maybe for my Scions, do some conversions around there. Not sure what to do. I've got mechanized, I've got armored, I've got infantry, but I haven't got motorized. So this has definitely given me some inspiration. So thank you for sending these pictures down. You've done an absolutely beautiful job on the paintwork on these vehicles. If anyone else has got any cool pictures you want me to use in my videos, please post them on my Facebook page or email them to me, and there will be a link down to the Facebook page and an email address in the description below. So without further ado, let's get into today's video. So today's video is going to be another after action report roundup. I still haven't fully settled on the name yet. I've had some fantastic suggestions from people. I've had mentioned in dispatches from the front, loads of great suggestions. Not sure what I'm going to settle on yet. I might keep it just after action reports, plural. We'll see where it goes. And what I do in this series of videos, for those who are new to it, is where I go through all the battles that I've had this week, all the games of Warhammer, and I do an after-action report on them. And I say, look, this is what happened in this game, and this is what I learnt, and see if we can glean any tactical things from them. And hopefully it puts into, we've done a lot of theory crafting over the last 6 months, and the point of these videos is to be the opposite of that. These are videos which will be based and lessons learned entirely from games played. And if sometimes I have terrible luck, I'll talk about that, but not really. It's going to be mostly focused on the tactical elements of the game. So we've got 3 games to go through with you guys this week. I had one where I played as Dark Eldar versus Blood Angels, and that was a battle report on my brother's channel, Scholar Progenium. Go and check it out. I've got the one where I played my Steel Legion versus Chaos Knight, and that's a battle report on this channel, and there'll be a link to that at the end of this video. And the third one is a game where I played my Scions versus Orks. And I played a very, very good Orc list. So yeah, really, a whole smorgasbord, whole variety, a little finger in the pie of lots of different metas and matchups and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go through them in the order that I mentioned. The first one, Blood Angels versus Dark Eldar. Now, a couple of things to know about going into this game. My opponent is a Blood Angel player with over 20, maybe 25 years of experience playing Blood Angels specifically under his belt. He's played from 2nd edition through to 9th edition, Blood Angels being the primary army every single time. So this guy knows what he's talking about. I have never played Dark Eldar before. I have played against Dark Eldar, but the most that I played against Dark Eldar was really in 8th edition. Didn't really play them much until that point. And in 8th edition, the list that I faced time and time again was Talos spam, basically. But I've probably faced it half a dozen times. And in 9th edition, I faced against Dark Eldar. This would have been the 3rd time that I faced against them, 1 at 500 points and 2 2,000 point games, all of which are battle reports on this channel. So not a huge amount of experience playing against them. I've got about a dozen, half a dozen games really, almost 10 games under my belt, but never played them myself. Never. So that's not true actually. Technically, I played them once or twice in 3rd edition when I didn't know what I was doing, and all I had was Cabalite Warriors with Splinter Cannons. That was my army because I got about 60 of them for 20 quid off eBay, and I was about 10 in 3rd edition or something. So yeah, unless that experience doesn't really factor in. I'm going to say that doesn't really factor in. Please let me know if you disagree down below. So that's the setup. Now, if you haven't seen that battle report, this is going to be spoilers. Okay, so put a bucket on your head and bang it until you don't hear it, or go and watch the battle report, then come back. I absolutely destroyed the Blood Angels. Absolutely destroyed them. Wasn't even close. 92 points to 57 points, something like that. The Blood Angels list I would describe as a solid Blood Angels list. It had a castle, a good core of Primaris Intercessors, 15 of them, defending an objective and doing other bits and bobs. It had Sanguinary Guard, it had Death Company, it had a cheeky little bit of Terminators, it had Eradicators, and even some cheeky Assault Intercessors. It had a Smash Captain, Smash Chaplain, and Mephiston. Okay, so no, it wasn't 30 Sanguinary Guard, but it wasn't, you know, 30 Scouts or something crap either, do you know what I mean? Like, probably me showing off some ignorance with the meta there. Maybe Scouts are amazing. But my point is it wasn't a bad list. It was a solid list, piloted by a very experienced player. Now, the list I was running was Dark Eldar Witch Cult, and I had 2 Raiders, 1 Venom, 2 Razorwing Jet Fighters, Witches to go in all the transports, some Clawed Fiends of all things, and then 3 units of 9 bikes with Heat Lances. So there was, you know, there was some good combat stuff in there. Oh, Drazar was there, and so was a couple of Succubuses. One of which was semi, you know, it wasn't the full build of destruction. You know, it wasn't the delete button Succubus, but it was still, you know, a part of Succubus with the Triptych Whip and some pretty good upgrades. I think, I don't know what cult I was. Red Grief, maybe. Didn't matter. Didn't even look at the rules. Didn't know my rules. Barely. The only stratagems that I knew was I could fall back and shoot, or charge, or both for a couple of CP. I could make myself -1 to hit for a CP. And I could move 7 inches after shooting for a CP or 2. They were the only 2 stratagems that I even looked. I knew. I didn't read them. I just went into it. It was meant to be a fun game. I expected to lose. And I won 92 points, 57. So it was brutal. You know, my list, what we're talking about the Dark Eldar list, you know, it's not Liquidator racks. Do you know what I mean? It's not 36 Darklight shots with rerolling to wound on them from you know, Obsidian Rose, whatever it is. It wasn't that. It was what I would describe as strong but fluffy, dedicated Dark Angel list. Okay, if you haven't seen the army, go and check it out again, because it's really cool. It's really well done. Yeah, I've only got like 15 Darklight shots in this with no rerolls on any of it, and I still just, it was insane. So what's the lesson to take away from this? Look, I think it's irrefutable at this point. Dark Eldar are basically, I'm not going to say they're overpowered. Some people are going to say it's irrefutable. Dark Eldar are overpowered, broken. I'm still not saying that. I probably should say that. What I will say is Dark Eldar are absolutely broken against Marines currently. Against the way that Marines currently want to play, Dark Eldar beat them. I don't know what Marine players could do. I don't know what I'm going to do as a Guard player. My thinking is turn up to the battle with 300 dudes and just try and win. But the problem that I had was that the secondaries that I picked for the Dark Eldar was the killing them in combat, get a point, kill a character in combat, get 3 points. That was a really easy. I think it's take them alive, I think is what it is. And I also took Scramblers and Engagemental Fronts. Look, my opponent had no way of denying me any secondaries. He couldn't deny me Scramblers. You know, it takes what, a little 5-man witch unit to drop in on the flank and deploy a Scrambler and you're done. My opponent could never deny me Engagemental Fronts. Couldn't do it. I'm so fast, couldn't do it. And kill things in combat. Well, I'm playing Witch Cult. What, you know, why do you think I came all this way? You know, like, so and then primary. That's the only way where I think you can deny Dark Eldar. I don't think you can deny Dark Eldar secondaries. If they want to score them, they're going to score them. The only thing you can try and do is stop them from getting primary. On a 4 objective board, that'll be relatively simple. On a 6 objective board or a 5 objective board, you ain't got a dog's chance in hell. They only need to sit on 2 objectives the whole game, which they'll do, because it's a 6 objective game or 5 objective game. They'll sit on 2 objectives all game and get 40 points. That'll do. That'll do, because then they'll get 40 points for the secondaries as well, easily. They'll get 10 for Scramblers. They'll max out Engagemental Fronts, which means they only, what's that, 25? Yeah, 25 points. So they only need to get like 5, between 5 and 10 slay you in combat points, which will be so easy for them to do. I got it by getting 2 characters and 4 units. I got like 10 or 12 points for it, like it wasn't hard. So the Dark Eldar player is going to turn up to the battlefield with 40 primary, pretty much, unless it's a 4 objective map, between 35 and 40 secondary, and he's got 10 painting score, so he's going to get a minimum of 80 points, and more than likely he's looking at 90 points every game, and you can't really stop him. Then, I should say. So, yeah, Dark Eldar are really, 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 really strong. I need to try facing them with my Guard, but they're definitely the anti-Marines. If the Marines fail to charge, the Dark Eldar deletes that unit. You cannot, basically against Dark Eldar, you cannot make a misstep. You cannot fail a charge. That you just need, if the plan goes off perfectly against them, you'll probably be in with a chance. But my brother dropped in 8 Death Company, and they failed a charge, and that was 8 Death Company deleted the following turn. Couldn't do anything about it. You know, same with Sanguinary Guard. Dropped them in, killed some Clawed Fiends. All right, fine. Then I deleted 9 Sanguinary Guard, 10 Sanguinary Guard, and most of that was deleted. Drozar and a Succubus went into them. There was a lot of hacking and chopping, and then there were no Sanguinary Guard left. Because Drozar is a bad man. A very, very bad man. Yeah, Drozar's a beast. Drozar might be my favourite character now. He went in against a Smash Captain, deleted him. Went in against some Assault Incest, I think, deleted them. And then went in against some Sanguinary Guard and deleted like a unit of Sanguinary Guard by himself practically. It was just filthy. So yeah, there you go. It's the Imperial Guard channel. I spent 10 minutes talking about Dark Eldar, but it's got to be done. So moving on to my own battle report, which go and check it out. It was a nice quick one. Again, spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. It'll be at the beginning of, be at the end of this video. It'll be the sort of end of video link thing that you can do with YouTube. Steel Legion versus Chaos Knights. Now this, for me, was... there's 2 lessons to be learned for this. One, again, it was an absolute beating. You know, fair play to Johnny. He's had 2 tough games. 2 tough games against me. So, you know, yeah, but we don't just chin up. But 2 tough games. But yeah, Chaos Knights versus Steel Legion, and again, it was over by turn 3. And I think with this game, there were sort of 3 things to take away from it. One, you know, Steel Legion are, you know, I was running them with the custom trait with Gunnery Experts and Spotter Details, and it was brutal. And it wasn't even Relic of Lost Cadia. But the problem with Knights is you go, right, my Warlord trait's going to be Old Grudges. Then that's me. I've guaranteed 1 dead Knight there. And if it's Chaos Knights, you're like, well, Vengeance for Cadia every turn on Demolisher Cannon. Vengeance for Cadia plus Hail of Fire, maximum on a tank commander. You're looking at 12 Demolisher Cannon shots at a 35-inch range with your movement and your Spotter Details. Okay, hitting on 3s, rerolling everything. Wounding on 3s, even if he juices himself up to toughness 9, wounding on 3s, rerolling everything. Slaps him straight onto his. If he rotates, slaps him straight onto his 4+. Okay, you get 10 wounds through. You get 10 wounds, and you get 5 wounds through. 5d6. I mean, you're basically taking off the better part of a knight's health there. It's what, 3.5, 15, 17.5 wounds. Let's say 18 wounds. And knight's got 6 wounds left after that. And you've got, oh yeah, 6 plasma cannon shots going into him. Rerolling hits, rerolling wounds. You only need to get 3 of those through, plus the heavy bolter to finish him off. You only need to get between the heavy bolter and the maximum shot Demolisher Cannon, plasma cannons, you only have to get 3 shots through a 4-pin. It's not hard. It's very doable. So yeah, that was brutal. Knights, outside without Forge World support, they're in the shitter. Pardon my French. They're not in the. They're not in a good place. And the simple matter of the fact is that it's a bit like a lot of things. The firepower of a lot of armies has really gone through the roof, but the durability hasn't of Knights. And Knights are no longer the gatekeeper. And I know a lot of people don't like Knights being the gatekeeper for competitive play. I never really minded it too much because it just forced me. If I'm gonna do this competitive thing, and I need to build a list, at least if I'm trying to build a take all comers list, the way I actually built my take all comers list was to go, can it beat Knights? And if it can, I'm not going to worry about anything else. Or has it got at least a 50-50 chance of killing Knights? So Knights not being the gatekeeper anymore is a bit of a shame. I get Games Workshop is listening to a lot of the community saying that we don't want big things in our small games. We want 40k to be the skirmish game and Apocalypse to be the big game. I get that. Just support Apocalypse then would be my, if Games Workshop spies watching this video, support Apocalypse, make me want to play Apocalypse, okay, and I will. There you go, I will. So yeah, there you go. So there's that. The other thing that I would take away from that game, and I think it would have been a different game if the Knights had gone first, to be fair, but then I think that's a case of who goes first wins, which is bad. Which is bad in itself, really, isn't it? The other thing to say, interesting sort of tactical thing from the Guard perspective, which is Guard are a bit of a weird faction because we're an early 8th faction. We have some of these quite specific anti-certain faction things. So the fact that we have the Relic of Lost Cadia, which is literally, should be renamed the Relic of Auto Win versus any Chaos Army. That's what it should be called. And then even if you don't go Cadian, the fact that you can just go Vengeance for Cadia, it's obscene. But it's also really specific. Yeah, it's a really interesting one. If I was to maybe... I don't know, you don't want to pigeonhole anyone too much. But yeah, it's funny. Because what I guess it shows is Guard have got some of these really interesting things that you can take that will basically make it an auto win against certain factions, and this puts us in this quite unique position where if there's a certain meta that crops up, Guard can be in a weirdly good place to just delete certain factions. So, for example, if Chaos rears its ugly head, and a lot of people start turning up to tournaments, and it's 50% of the games you go into that tournament you're going to play Chaos. Guard players can be like, all right, I'll go Cadian then, and I'll have Relic of Lost Cadia, which will just delete something in a turn, and it's a good catch-all relic anyway because I can reroll ones to hit and ones to wound against other factions as well, and then I'll go Vengeance for Cadia. So every turn after that, which is great. And it's similar with Yarrick. Yarrick gives you reroll ones, which is a good aura, but then he also gives you full rerolls to hit against Orks. And look, Orks are coming up, guys. With the Beast Snaggers dropping, Orks B are coming. So, I'm just thinking, let's basically assume that every 2,000 point list that I write is actually a 1,900 or 1,895 point list, because 100 to 105 points, whatever it is going to be dedicated to Yarrick every game. Because if I turn up to a game and I've got Yarrick, it's pretty much an auto win. Because I've got a 6-inch aura of just full rerolls. And Yarrick doesn't order if you make him the Warlord. You don't need to make him the Warlord though. So, yeah, it's pretty mad. It's pretty bonkers. You can get Yarrick and you can put him in range of 3 tank commanders. You can put him in range of full payload manticores or basilisks. It's easy. It's relatively easy. Yarrick is the auto win button against Orcs. So, yeah, just an interesting quirk that Guard have. We've got a number of these anti-certain faction, which you don't see in a lot of other things. I don't think you really have one for Space Marines. Dark Eldar have got one for Eldar, I suppose, but they still exist. But Guard seem to have more than other factions, which is interesting. But I guess we face a lot of other factions. So moving on to last but certainly not least, I had a game versus Orks. Naturally transitioning from speaking about Orks to more Orks, with my Scions. And again, I won. I'm on a roll at the moment. I'm going to have to pay for this with probably like 10 losses in a row. But Scions won their 4th game in a row now for me. 4th game. They've taken on AdMech twice, White Scar Space Marines, and now competitive Orks. So 2 semi-competitive AdMech lists. That's a very competitive, but admittedly, player was using it for the first time, White Scars list. And then an competitive Orc list. Now, when competitive Orcs, what I mean is it was a shitload of buggies and a shitload of mech guns, basically. It was a lot. My Scions list was the one that I've been running for ages, for all 4 games now, pretty much. 3 Torx Primes, 2 Valkyries, Plasma Squads in every Torx Prime, Melter Squads in both Valkyries, 3 Tempesta Primes, Landed Lions with 5+ reroll, 5+ Invuln Shield, Relic, and reroll 1s, Warlord trait, extra Warlord trait on the Lord Commissar, and an Inquisitor for some psychic shenanigans, and a big block of Bulgrins. Now, in every single game, the Bulgrins, before this one, the Bulgrins basically absorbed all the enemy's firepower, and my Scions were then able to do a lot of damage to them, to the enemy. In this game, my opponent, who had 2 big blocks of Orks, which he brought back at one point with unstoppable green ties. It was like having 3. And like I said, 10 mech guns and 6 buggies and looters and all sorts of stuff. We looted with Grot's shield, ouch. And basically, what happened is my opponent decided to shoot his shooting stuff at my Scions. So my Scions were actually taking a beating this game. My Borgwins survived the whole game. Second time they've done that. Normally they just die. But I survived to basically the end of the game with my Borgwins, and they went on a rampage. 9 Borgwins backed by a priest charged into a unit of 26 Orc boys and killed them all. Or maybe there was 2 left. 24 dead. It was insane. And then they went on to blow up one of the buggies. Then they went on to blow up to destroy 15 looters. Yeah, lesson for my opponents there: like, do not leave the Borgwin blob unattended, because yeah, you might be killing the Scions, but you can't let 9 Borgwins run around. You can't. They just bludgeon everything and anything to death. They're a really powerful unit. So so yeah, there was that. And it's really good for us guard players because it puts the enemy in a really difficult position. When you've got a big Borgwin blob like that, it's a lot of points. But that's only 305 points. If there's only 345 with the priest, it's not a huge amount of points. It's not a quarter of your army, not quite. It's like, what, it's like a fifth of your army, which isn't too bad. And basically, it's going to make, it's going to force your opponent into a really difficult situation, because he will have to spend a whole turn at least deleting those Borgwins. And then if he doesn't, and if he does that, then all your Scions are going to come and just do horrendous damage to him. And if he doesn't delete them, and he lets them run around, even 4 Borgwins was enough to basically butcher the majority of a looter squad, and the rest basically ran. So yeah, Borgwins are very, very, very good. I mean, obviously everyone knows that, but Borgwins are really, they force your opponent into a catch-22. Now with the rest of the Scions, they performed really well. Really well. Another thing is when my opponent, Unstoppable Green Tided back, he brought a unit like 26 Orks back. I killed 2 with the Scion Civic Stratagem that lets you shoot at someone when they come in from reserves. So I killed 2 with that, which was interesting. Gave me some thoughts about maybe having a 10-man squad with volley guns as some sort of anti-deep strike potential. But the other thing is that those boys that failed their charge, even with Here We Go, and all it took was 5 Land and Lion squads with rerolling ones to hit, rerolling ones to wound with orders and auras, and there was plasma guns and plasma pistols in every squad, and then every squad threw a frag grenade against the Orc boys, which basically they got max shots every time, or nearly every time. Was horrendous. 25 Scions deleted with change 26 basically Orc boys, an Orc boy mob in one go, just absolutely slayed them. My opponent just couldn't believe it. He was like, he thought they were like normal. He knew Scions were good. He didn't realise they were that much better than regular guardsmen, because he doesn't get a save even against the frag grenades. He wasn't getting a save. And what was really interesting is my Scions actually beat Orcs in combat, because the Orcs, there's a squad of 9 Orcs with a knob charged in against a couple of 4-man squads of Scions, and they only killed like 2 or 3 Scions. I think there was 3 4-man squads of Scions, and I thought the Orcs would just go through them. But the Scions lost. I lost 3 Scions because his knob basically clawed 1. And the rest of his Orc boys only had like 3 attacks each, and there's only like 8 of them. So it's like, and he split his attacks. Oh no, there was only there was only like 7 of them, including the knob. So I mean, still, normally you would expect 7 boys with a knob to clear through like 10 or 12 guardsmen equivalent, but they didn't, because I've got a 4th armor save. So I got a little lucky with my saves. My opponent got a little unlucky. That's all it took. My Scions turned around. I've got 3 sergeants in there with chainswords, which are AP -1. I'm hitting on 3s because Tempesta sergeants hit on 3s. Yeah, it was just brutal. And yeah, I basically beat Orcs in combat, which was nice. I lost 3, and I think I killed 4 or 5 in return, and the other 2 ran away. So it was pretty, yeah, it was pretty insane. Land and Lion Scions, they're good. They're really, really good. The Scions are currently unbeaten, which I don't know how long that's going to last. They've basically proven themselves capable in the mid-leagues. Let's take them up against something harder and see if they can win the big leagues. Let's see if there's something in the big leagues. Now, I only won that game by 5 points, and to be fair, I chose a bad secondary because I was just trying it out. But I still won. I actually lost. I actually took a huge amount of casualties that game. But yeah, very, got outshot by Orks, which was a bit weird. But yeah, it's a really strong take on Commerce Scions, list that, and I really, really like it. Anyway, so, lessons learned from this week. Drukari, bullshit. Chaos Knights, sad. Scions, looking very good. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you have liked what you've seen here today, please consider heading on over to the old Patreon page. There will be a link down in the description below. I'm very transparent with the whole Patreon thing. All the money that I get gets put back into the channel. I don't have any tiers or anything silly like that. It's just if you want to donate $1 or $20, it doesn't matter to me. I'm just genuinely just grateful for whatever people can give. And of course, a huge thank you to all my current Patreon supporters. You guys are absolutely fantastic. I'm not going to get too mushy. You guys know I'm not very good with emotions, but genuinely, massive thank you to my Patreon supporters. It's made a huge difference. The battle bunker, the new terrain, new armies, Great Mordian Restoration Project. I have got, I think, 6, maybe 7. There's another one I've been invited to. 7 tournaments that I think I'm going to be going to as well. All of it just funded by patrons and a little bit of my own money, but nearly all of it funded by Patreon at this point. So just huge thank you to my Patreon supporters, because you really do allow me to just really take this channel to the next level and give it 110%. Won't get into we're not too mushy. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and of course, I'll see you guys next time.